throne. They couldn't build their own. They can't believe my growth. They see the change, the tone, but they couldn't handle that.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this series, we're going to be going over Uranus in the houses. Yes, Uranus in the houses. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the first house. So having Uranus in your first house, okay? And before we get into that, I just want to remind you guys to check out my music. If you enjoyed the music in the beginning of this video, that's my music. Check it out on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TikTok. I definitely have the link in the description box below, and I'd really appreciate that. So yes, getting back into Uranus in the first house. And before we get into that, let's just dissect what Uranus is in the first house, especially Uranus. Uranus is, in my opinion, the most complex energies to explain. But yes, Uranus in astrology. Okay, this is the planet of friends, acquaintances, associates, fans. Okay, this is like your social life, all right? Now, there's other planets that deal with that as well, too. Other planets like Mercury and Venus also deal with your friends as well, too. However, what makes Uranus so different is that when it comes to Venus, Uranus is not as intimate as Venus. Venus deals with like your one-to-one relationships, your partnerships. Uranus is simply like, you know, we both can be into like Marvel, so we're part of this Marvel club and we associate each other like that. It's not as deep as Venus, okay? So that's Uranus, okay? And you can also say Mercury, but with Mercury, Mercury deals with your friends and associates that are part of your community, that are close by, that are of reach, like your neighbors, you know, the people you in your town that you grew up with, you know. Whereas Uranus could be, you know, associates and connections from way out. Like this could be, you know, your followers on social media, okay? Uranus takes you outside of your community, outside of what you're used to, outside of your boundaries, where Mercury is people of close reach, people you've grown up with, people that are near you, that are familiar, okay? It doesn't take you out of your borders the way Uranus does, okay? Uranus, like I said, could be a follower from social media, people you connect to in that way who are way out there, okay? Which brings me to Uranus ruling social media, okay? Social media is ruled by Uranus. You got to think about it, okay? They say that we're in the Aquarius age, right? Uranus rules Aquarius. It's the ruler of Aquarius. So it makes perfect sense that in this Aquarius age, we're in a social media age where the internet's big and we make so many of our connections and communications through the internet, through social media. And if you look at a lot of social media, it's all about your following, you know, whether it be Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. It's all about a following, your fans. Even before that, you know, people used to use the internet for pen pals, you know. I remember that. You know, MySpace, AOL, all of that is social media. It's social connecting, and this is Uranus. Uranus connects you to society at large, okay? It's, again, not like Mercury, where it's like just your little community, or like Venus, where it's really intimate one-on-one, okay? This is like the society at large and how we connect to it. So being we're in Aquarius age, Uranus rules Aquarius, it's no surprise that social media is so big, all right? And when we talk about society and social connecting, okay, and this is all communication, okay? Uranus rules Aquarius. It's an air sign, just, you know, so the air signs deal with like communication, okay? So that's why we're talking about friends and society and social connecting. And when we talk about that, we're talking about our mind, okay? Uranus is a planet of your mind, but your higher mind, because Mercury also rules the mind. But Mercury rules the mind in the very basic level, or the standard level. Uranus, however, it takes you outside. Again, it takes you outside of your community. It takes you outside the box. So this mind, this mental energy is very rebellious. It's like thinking outside the box, inventing, coming up with new ideas, not just sticking to the formula. Okay, this is Uranus, so that's why people call Uranus the higher mind, because you're thinking outside the box, you're thinking very uniquely, and because of this, you are inventing, okay? This is inventions, this is innovation, this is how we create new ideas, okay, for the world, okay? It's through thinking outside the box. So very important to understand Uranus is the sign of being unique, thinking differently, going left versus going right, you know. It is that, and it also deals with a rebellious mentality, a rebellious mind. So Uranus rules the rebel, okay? Going against the grain, doing things differently. This is how we invent. This is how we innovate. But with this, you know, going against the grain, there's lots of controversy with Uranus. So Uranus also rules controversy, shocking things, things that shock you, things that cause issues, okay? Because there's so much rebellious and coming up with ideas that aren't familiar, you know, a lot of times people react in a, you know, shocking way or uncomfortable way. So Uranus is all about shock, you know, shock factor, controversy, you know, things that, you know, we aren't used to, ideas we aren't used to, okay? And with this mindset as well, Uranus rules technology, because you have to understand technology is invented through the mind, but not just the mind alone, but also thinking outside the box, reinventing, innovating. This is technology, okay? It's using the mind, but it's using the mind in a unique way, in ways that we haven't done before in order to create new inventions, innovate our world. This is how technology is used, okay? So Uranus is responsible for all this genius, you know, thinking outside the box, inventing, innovating type of mind, okay? Very different from Mercury. Mercury is more about the formula, the base. Uranus is taking that mind to a next level and thinking, coming up with new ideas. So this is why Uranus rules technology, and as well as electricity. I know that sounds weird, but electricity, you got to think about it. When you think about technology, our biggest forms of technology and our biggest inventions are through electricity. When you think about the new inventions that are created, they all associate with electricity. Okay, electricity is that Uranus energy. It's all about innovation. It's all about advancing things, okay? All our biggest inventions are with electricity. And also, Uranus is shocking. Like I said, it's shocking, it's surprising. What is electricity? Shocking, it's, you know, it's all over the place. Very chaotic, just like Uranus. So Uranus is a very complex, rules your friends, social media, the internet, technology, and how we innovate and think outside the box. And then you have the first house. The first house deals with our physical body, our identity, how we identify ourselves, how we come into this world as an existence and what we identify with, what we look like, our surface persona, what people first see when they see us, our auras, you know, and even our energy levels, okay? You know, so that's the first house, all right? The first thing I can say about Uranus in the first house is these people are rebellious, very rebellious, okay? Uranus is already rebellious because it gives you the mentality of thinking outside the box, doing things differently, uniquely. But when it's in your first house, this is how you identify, okay? This is what you identify with. So you're Uranus identified. So you're all about rebelling. Uranus, the first people, they like doing things differently. They like appearing differently. They like changing the game. They are rebellious. And because this is the first house deals with yourself, okay? So what I mean by that is like, the first house isn't dealing with other people. You only care about yourself when you're dealing with the first house. It blocks everyone else. It deals with who you are. So it's very selfish in that sense. So when you put that energy mixed with this rebellious energy, I say these people are fiercely rebellious because they're not thinking about other people. They're just thinking about themselves. You know, you're having Uranus in your first house, so it's all about you. You're not considering other people. So with this already rebellious mentality, you're super fiercely rebellious because you're very self-centered or self-focused on it as well too. You don't give any opportunity for any other person to infiltrate or interfere with your unique ideas and your unique way of thinking, because again, it's the first house. You're not considering anyone but yourself. So I say these people are fiercely rebellious. Anywhere Uranus is in your chart, it's going to show where you're a rebel. But in the first house especially, because again, it deals with yourself. Like, you're not going to take no for an answer. You're not going to take other people's opinions, ideas. You're not going to be swayed easily because you're very stubbornly okay, rebellious. So, and you identify with this. This is the way you go about your life. Okay, so yes, Uranus in first house people are very rebellious. Also, with Uranus in the first house, these people can have a very awkward or unique or different or striking appearance, okay? Uranus, again, it's all about thinking outside the box. It's all about unique energy. It's all about shocking energy. It's all about being different. So when you put this in the first house, it's manifesting in your appearance, okay? The first house is your surface persona. It's your appearance. It's what you identify with. So you have a look that's interesting, okay? And it could be physically, okay? This could be like, you know, physical features about yourself that are very unique and different, okay? That make people look twice, okay? So it can manifest physically, or it could just be your style, the way you dress and present yourself, okay? Can be very, very different and unique, okay? These Uranus and first house people are always going to have a unique style, okay? A unique way of presenting themselves, a rebellious way. You know, if you're supposed to wear uniforms, and they're going to wear their uniform in a way that's different, okay? Just to switch it up, because this is how they identify themselves. They don't identify with being the same with everyone else. So their appearance is going to be very unique. You know, these are the people with shocking looks, weird looks, surprising looks, rebellious looks, whether it's the way they dress. Again, it could be their physical body, something about it, their physical features is very unique and different or striking. But yes, their appearance is going to be very rebellious, very striking, very different, very unique, okay? And for the better or for the worse, because like I said, Uranus is all about controversy. So your appearance could be striking and unique in a positive way, or it could ruffle feathers, or both, you know, but who cares? You're Uranus in the first house. You don't care. This is how you identify yourself. So yes, definitely a unique appearance. Also, with Uranus in the first house, these people are super smart. There's something very genius about them. Uranus, anywhere it is in your chart, it's going to represent where you're a genius, where you think outside the box, where you can invent new ideas. But because this is your first house, this is how you identify yourself. This is your personality. You're just a genius in general. Uranus is a mental, it deals with mental energy, air energy. It rules Aquarius. So these people are very mental. They're very smart. They like to think outside the box, you know. They carry lots of information, okay? They're into unique things and unique studies, okay? People with Uranus in first house, there could be, you know, things that they're into like astrology, you know, just unique topics like anything, robots, insects. They could just be into any type of unique thing, or maybe play a very unique instrument. But because it's a mental sign, they're good at retaining information. So with Uranus in the first house, they're not only going to be smart, you know, because Mercury in the first house can have the same thing. They could be very smart, retain lots of information, know lots about things. But with Uranus here, you're thinking outside the box. So whatever information you know about, it could be, again, like I said, very unique things, unique subjects like astrology, insects, I don't know, anything, information that people don't readily know. So, and you're going to study it to a T and have your own unique, inventive ideas about it. So it makes you super genius, super smart, okay? Because you have a unique way of looking at things, okay? And you invent new ideas. So people can be very inspired by the information and knowledge that you have, because you're not only giving them new information, but you're giving them a new way of thinking, okay? And that's very innovative. So yes, Uranus and first house people are very blessed with the mental energy, with the mental capacity of retaining lots of information, but unique information, and in a way that's unique and can open someone's mind, okay? They're inventive, very innovative people. And if they're not like the typical smart, you know, like the Mercury smart, there may be a subject or a topic that they're just a genius at. They know to the T, and they have a unique perspective on it. So It's all about being unique here with Uranus in first house. You're not just smart, but you're uniquely smart, okay? You could even be controversial with some of your ideas. Also, when we talk about the first house, we talk about not just your body and appearance, but also your energy, the way you move, okay? Your mannerisms, you know, and how you move your body, you know, how you are existing actively. And with Uranus here, you can be existing in a very awkward way. You could have an awkward walk, you know, an awkward way of the way you move. The way, you know, you just exist in reality. You know, you could have a unique way, you know, like I said, you could walk uniquely, you could talk uniquely. It's not just your presence, but it's also how you're actively existing and moving. Okay, this is a first house. First house is all about your physical energy. Okay, and also Uranus being the ruler of electricity and shocking things and advanced things, like you can have lots of energy in like a shocking way. Like Uranus in first house people could be very random, very like boo, like just out of nowhere. Just very kind of like shocking and awkward like that. And it's just in their energy, you know, you just have a very shocking electric energy, okay? Kind of, you know, and this is, again, because of Uranus. Uranus is that shocking element. So you put this in the first house of, you know, your energy in general of existence, you know, it could be, you know, these people like to just be wild and be spontaneous and be random and just do like, you know, random things, you know? This is that energy of like, you know, the peekaboo, like, you know, type of things, like just wanting to like shock people in a physical way, and the way that you move your body and the way that you exist in reality. So their energy is very, basically what I'm saying is their energy is very electrifying, you know, and that can shock you. It can be very energetic, but it can also shock you. Also with Uranus in the first house, you need to be careful because you can be prone to accidents as well too, and you need to be careful with the electricity as well too. Okay, and this is because Uranus is such an awkward energy. It's such a, you know, shocking energy, and just like your movements can be shocking, they can also lead into accidents too. You know, abrupt accidents that happen out of nowhere. You know, because we're talking about, you know, the first house in our physical body. You know, so you got to be careful of that, of not being too, you know, random and shocking with your movements and get into like an actual like accident. And also with electricity, okay, Uranus rules electricity. And like I said, when we talk about the first house, it's like your aura, it's like your physical body. So you can think of these people like kind of like an archetype of electricity. But this can make you a strong, you can attract electrical energy, or when you're around electrical energy, you can cause, you could get into access with electricity, you could get shocked, you know, because of your energy levels. Your energy is electric. So electric attracts electric. You know how electric is. It just comes together and it multiplies very quickly. So you got to be careful with electricity, plugs, you know, anything dealing with electricity. You can get shocked because you're electrical yourself, and you kind of like multiply the energy with just your existence. You intensify the electrical energy. You know, you're kind of like magnetic. So you have to be careful, you know, with electricity, because that could be an accident for you, or issues with you because you're so electrical. So you attract electricity, and that could lead into like shock, like physical shock, literally. Another thing with Uranus in the first house is that these people can have a hard time fitting in, okay? You have to understand Uranus deals with our associates, our acquaintances, our fans, and as unique as Uranus is, and Uranus first people are, they identify with the collective, they identify with friendships, they understand groups and friends and connections, you know, this is Uranus. So, but because it's in the first house, you could be so self-independent with your own uniqueness that it's hard for you to fit into other groups. You know, so even though you want to be a part of groups, you want to contribute to groups, you want to contribute, you want to have friends and acquaintances, because you're so fiercely independent and unique, it can be hard for you to do that, okay? First house is independence. It's not group. It's independent. So just like you're fiercely unique, You can be fiercely independent and away from groups. It's hard for you to fit into groups. You can start lots of arguments and controversy with groups, or you could just be so weird and different people can't relate to you, so you don't fit in. And that could be an issue with Uranus in first house people, not being able to fit in and stuff like that, even though they want to contribute to society so badly. So something to be very aware of, Uranus first house people, because fitting in can be something very difficult, okay? And it might take time. You might have to find a unique group of people in order to identify with. Whatever unique things you're into, you probably have to find people who are into those unique things in order to fit into a group, because like I said, you're so fiercely different, unique, and rebellious. It's so hard for you to fit in, you know? So that's definitely an issue that can happen with Uranus in the first house, you know, having issues with social life and friends and finding someone to fit in with. You're really going to have to find people who are unique and who have the same interest in certain topics as you in order to find, you know, your community. Because like I said, you are rebellious, you're different, you're unique, and you're in that in a very self-centered way, you know? So that energy can make it hard for you to fit in and to, you know, find, you know, acquaintances and associates like you. So definitely be aware of that, because Uranus energy still wants to contribute to society, so it likes friends, it likes groups, but it can have that issue with being so different, unique, and rebellious. Okay, and the first house, again, with that fierce energy, you know, making it all about yourself and not considering anyone else, it could be hard for you to fit into groups. But also, with Uranus in the first house, these people can be part of lots of cool societies and clubs, you know, things that they're interested, they're very unique and not, you know, mainstream. You know, they could be very into that, you know, collecting items that are unique, like just like doing unique hobbies. You know, this is really a placement of someone who does something unique or is part of a very unique community, you know, and not only is it unique, but it's also very advanced. Like whatever the club that they're part of, the thing that they're interested in, whatever this Uranus person is interested in, they will master that study, that activity, that club, or whatever it is, and they'll know it to the T, and it'll be so innovative and so different. So not only do they do unique things, but they truly master it because they're geniuses. So this could be, you know, someone who's an expert in astrology, you know, very unique field, you know, that's not really mainstream. Well, now you can say it is, but that's also because we're in the Aquarius age, you know? So technically things like that are now mainstream, but, you know, you could be, you know, into different sciences like dinosaur bones, you know, just like very unique things, you know, astronomy, you know, anything. Or you can, you know, be into Marvel and be an expert at everything that's about it and who creates it and know it to, you know, it's just amazing, you know, the unique clubs and communities and things that a Uranus in first house person is a part of and also knows, you know. Yes, that is Uranus in the first house. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I actually had this placement myself, so I am very, you know, I understand this energy so much, like having issues fitting in, being very awkward in terms of your presence. It doesn't have to just be how you look. It could just be how you're moving, walking around, awkward body movements. But it's such a blessing because being unique is like, it's so celebrated now that, you know, this is such a blessed placement. You know, I would just say with this placement, with all your uniqueness, be careful when it comes to technology. Be careful when it comes to electricity. You are a magnet for electricity. You will literally multiply electricity, so don't get shocked. Be careful with your movements. And also, find people who think like you. Find people who have the same interests in the same topics as you, because that's going to be so much easier for you to fit in. Uranus and first house people, they have such a hard time fitting in, and we so badly want to have friends because we want to contribute to society, you know. So I would say find the people who have the same interests as you, because it's all about the mind. So it's all about the topics and the things that we know and what we can communicate. So that's Uranus in the first house. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you did, book a reading with me. I do tarot reading as well as astrology readings. All you have to do is email me. We could go forward with that. Also, check out all my music, okay, my videos, all of that. The link is in the description box below. I'd really appreciate that. And I'll check you guys out on the next video.